Hello, I am trapped in the moon, and we are talking about more random cards on Scryfall. Pretty simple the way it goes is I start the timer for a minute, and I talk about a random card. A random card such as Dream Shacklegeist. Dream Shacklegeist is a 3/1 flying spirit for 1 and 2 blue, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1. Tap target creature, or target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Using this thingy, you can either make things tap down for easier attacks, or you can freeze something that has already attacked, or just keep a creature, keep it frozen down, something you don't want to untap. Pretty good effect. I like it. It's at the beginning of combat, uh, on your turn, so it's helping out your combat, and just a neat little blue control effect. Keep those creatures tapped down. Don't wanna get beat up by their big dude or um keep something frozen down. Kind of sucks that if you choose the first option, they can kind of just untap it because you can only choose up to one. You can't tap and freeze, but decent 3/1 flyer spirit, not bad. Ooh, here's a card. All right, start that timer. Verdant Force is 5 and 3 green for a 7/7 elemental creature, and at the beginning of each upkeep, put a 1/1 green sapperling creature token onto the battlefield. That's a lot of sapperlings. You're gonna be making a lot of dudes. That's kind of the thing about this, especially in Commander. Even if even though this thing is kind of a removal magnet because no one wants you to make a million sapperlings. If you get a full turn around the table for 8 mana, you get a 7/7 and 4 sapperlings, and you'll just keep making them for as long as this thing is alive. The army basically builds itself, helpful if you're going for, kind of overrun green where you really want to make a whole bunch of dudes. This guy loves Craterhoof, loves that sort of effect where it's just a bunch of little guys all over the place. It's kind of like a really slow, like Avenger of Zendikar, that sort of effect. Same sort of idea. Cool card. Speaking of cool cards, here we have Orb of Dragon kind. 1 and a red gets you a rare artifact that you can pay 1 and tap to add 2 mana in a combination of colors, but you can only spend that mana to cast dragon spells or activate dragon abilities. Or you can pay red and tap to sacrifice the orb and look at the top 7 cards of your library. Then you can reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. So you can either search for a dragon with the orb off the top 7, or you can use it to basically just be a mana rock, be a little signet for your dragon spells. Obviously goes in any dragon themed deck and pretty much nothing else. Like you're not probably putting this in most other decks that don't, play a lot of dragons. But in dragon decks it does its thing. It does the dragon thing. Um pretty narrow, but pretty cool card based off of a pretty neat item from Dungeons and Dragons. Here you go. Pondering Mage. You'll never guess what this guy does. All right. Pondering Mage is 3 and 2 blue for a human wizard. 3/4, actually pretty good stats considering it's a blue creature. And when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You may shuffle your library, draw a card. If you didn't know, the Pondering Mage literally casts. Wait, second. Ponder. Yeah, he just enters the battlefield and casts Ponder. It's his whole entire thing. That's the bit. If you like Ponder, it's great. You should like Ponder. It's a really good effect. We like to know what's on our library. I mean, you can look at the top 3, take a card, or you could just be like, all those cards suck. I looked at 3 lands. That's 3 lands. Shuffle them away, then draw. There you go. No problem. Ponder is a great effect to have. I'm pretty sure Pondering Mage, like we were just talking about, it is an enter the battlefield effect, so it works with blink effects, so you can be pondering all the time. And bonus, I'll go a little over the timer just because I like the fact that the Pondering Mage in the art is literally doing like the ponder thing from the card art Ponder. It's literally doing that. That's pretty cool. And all right, next card. Portent of Betrayal. 3 and a red. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, gains haste till end of turn. Scry 1. This is Active Treason with Scry 1 attached to it for an additional mana. Not the best rate, but in decks that need, commander decks specifically, that need multiple of this kind of effect, it works. Let's look at this other art. Maybe. Oh, nope. Oh, yeah, they did change the art. So, yeah, I mean, treason effects, you either love them or you hate them. I don't love that this is 4 mana. That's a lot of mana for a temporary effect, but it can be powerful depending on what you steal, if you intend to sacrifice it. I don't think Scry 1 is worth 1 mana really ever. And I think Active Treason is kind of a okay-ish card that you could really print Scry 1 on Active Treason, which is 2 in a red, and be just fine. But that's just my take on Portent of Betrayal. Spellkeeper Weird. That's a 2 and a blue for a creature. Weird. Not an elemental. That's pretty interesting. It's actually just a weird from War of the Spark. 2 and tap, sacrifice Spellkeeper Weird. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So you get a spell back. You get an instant or sorcery for 2 mana and losing your guy. He's a 1/4, so he's a good blocker too. Decent blocker. 2 and a blue, so 5 total mana to get a spell back. Not exactly the fastest, but I like his energy. Honestly, I like that in the art you can see you can see the scroll. You can see the spell that he's keeping literally in his body. And it worked well as a team, but they knew it couldn't last forever. Must be his little buddy in the background there, his little fire guy. You're gonna get that spell back. Could be any spell. Instant or sorcery. So not any spell, but it will be an instant or sorcery. Not bad. Cool. Cool little is it card. Fire Diamond. This is one of the ones that's gonna be hard to talk for a minute about. 2 colorless gets you an artifact that enters the battlefield tapped, and you can add 1 red to your mana pool. It is a mana rock. It does not do much else other than ramp you slowly. It adds you a red. It's a fire diamond, part of a cycle that I don't know if I can show very well, but there are 5 of these diamonds. I think they're charcoal diamond, sky diamond. The other ones, there's one for each color of mana, and they all do this. They have some pretty. I think they have a lot of arts actually. Or maybe I'm wrong. Yep, there's that art from 7th edition. You got the commander ones. Just then of course the Baldur's Gate style ones. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty standard mana rock. Okay, well, we knew it would have to happen someday. Here we have basic land swamp, specifically the full art swamp from New Capenna. It looks really good. I like this. I like the swamp actually. Um, Swamp is a really good card because you can play like 1 swamp per turn, usually, and you can then tap it to add black to your mana pool to play Black Magic the Gathering spells. I'm not insulting your intelligence. I know you know what Swamp does. But if you have a deck that is a whole bunch of swamps and nothing else, otherwise known as a mono black deck, you can have a lot of fun with that. You can also use other cards like Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, to turn all your other lands into swamps, so they do what this card right here does all the time, which is a super cool effect. In terms of basic lands, I would say that swamps, and black cares the most about just having swamps. Devotion to black, that's a big thing. And that's all I can really say about it. I could talk for longer about basic land swamp, but that was all the time that I had for that. Okay, next up. Baleful Stare, 2 and a blue for a sorcery from Portal. Ooh. Ooh, that art is some heat right there. All right, 2 and a blue. You look at your opponent's hand. For each mountain and red card there, you draw a card. All right. Your opponent's playing mono red. I play mono red sometimes. Maybe I'm playing my Hazard deck. You hit me with Baleful Stare, you're drawing a card for every card in my hand. Or you're in a commander game where nobody's playing red and you have Baleful Stare, and this reads 2 into blue to look at your opponent's hand. At least it doesn't do nothing. This is like feast or famine the card where it's like this is either awesome, just okay, kind of. Maybe there's like a 3-color deck with red in it, or just terrible. And we love these kind of effects. I've never seen this card before, but I kind of love it. I love blue hating on red for no reason. That was Baleful Stare. Yeah, okay, here's a guy. Here's a guy. Kesket the Flesh Sculptor is 2 and a black for a legendary Phyrexian Human Artificer. He's a 1/3, and you can tap him to sacrifice 3 other artifacts and or creatures. Then you look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So pretty good effect, but you do have to kind of pay a steep price. Sacrificing 3 other creatures or artifacts is pretty steep, but you do get 2 cards out of it. Technically 3 if you want cards to be in your graveyard. He has partner, so you can play him with other commanders that have partner. Specifically, you would play this guy with like whatever partner commander synergizes with this guy's effect, probably a creature, a commander that like wants to die or that comes back or makes a bunch of artifacts when it comes in, something like that, so you can get the most value out of this guy. I think there was like a shot in the dark. Let me look. Like, yeah, Armix Filigree Thrasher from the same set is a black partner guy, and when he attacks you, discard a card. He synergizes with Casket pretty well. I won't go into super detail on that. But it's pretty interesting. His brother's War Commander. You got a I didn't know Armix got a gold border. That's pretty cool. Good for him. All right, Woodland Stream. Lots of lands. Lots of lands this episode. Woodland Stream enters the battlefield tapped. Add blue or green to your mana pool. This is why is this tap land uncommon? That's kind of weird. And these usually, yeah, it's common. This thing has been printed in like everything ever. It's just your standard your tapped dual land. Not the best effect. We typically like our dual lands to be a little bit faster or a little bit better, but if you're working on a budget like we often are, hey, it gets you 2 colors. Not very fast, but it sure does. I like the flavor. As much flavor as you can get from Woodland Stream. Oh, it's forest and there's water in it. There's water in the forest. It must be a blue-green land. And then that's pretty much all there is to Woodland Stream. Um, yeah, I mean, I would say basic swamp is better than Woodland Stream, but that's just me. And we'll hit another card. Got a minute to talk about Ogre Battlecasters. Be quick. 2 and a red gets you a 3/3 Ogre Shaman from Battle Bond. It has First Strike, and when it attacks, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard by paying red in addition to its other costs. If that spell would be put into a graveyard, exiled instead. When you cast that spell, Ogre Battlecaster gets +X+0 until end of turn, where X is that spell's mana value. Okay, so I'm kind of seeing the intention here is maybe you go into your graveyard, and since you have to pay a little bit extra, you're probably not getting a super big instant or sorcery, but maybe you're getting some decent pump spell. Something that already buffs power and toughness to throw onto your Ogre Battlecaster. And they already get pumped from the CMC of that card, and then additionally, if it's also a pump spell, it gets even bigger, and you're kind of doing combat tricks with this guy. It's a first striker, so it's already pretty good at combat. A 3/3 first strike for 3 is a pretty good rate anyway. Pretty neat card. I like Ogre Battlecaster. Whoa. All right. Whirling Dervish. 2 green mana for a dervish. That's the first I've ever seen of that creature type. It's got protection from black. Put a 1/1 counter on Whirling Dervish at the end of each turn in which it damages opponent. Okay, this actually kind of. What is this card? Like, when was this originally printed? Legends? Or is this all the way back? Yeah, it looks like Legends. Sure. This is actually a pretty good card. It's surprisingly, some old cards are pretty bad, but this one, if there's a opponent playing black on turn 2, you're getting a guy that's getting bigger every single turn. You're beating the crap out of that mono black player, or even just anyone that's playing black at the table. Um, Not super great if there isn't one of those, but I mean it's 2 mana for a guy that could, pretty much for free get up to like 4/4, 5/5, become a decent threat to anyone playing those basic swamps. Well, black creatures, I guess, because it's not Swamp Walk. Swamp Walk would be a little better, but protection from black on this guy is pretty cool. All right, next up, Arrest. Arrest 2 and a white for an enchantment aura. You enchant a creature, it cannot block or attack, and its activated abilities can't be activated. I mean, I just think this card flavorfully is pretty funny because you can have some pretty silly flavor things come up by arresting things that, how the hell did the Azorius Guild arrest something like Blightsteel Colossus? Like, I don't believe you. But it's pretty funny. It's pacify with the additional effect you can't use the activated abilities. Still not a great effect. I mean, it's white. In white, you can probably just kill or even exile the creature for a lot cheaper than it is to just put this enchantment on it. Enchantress decks do care though, a lot about having their enchantments, obviously. So in some cases better, but I typically like to go the nuclear route and just absolutely exile whatever I'm trying to get rid of on my opponent's field. Experiment 1. This is nice art too. This is one of the first cards I ever actually opened and like thought about when I first got into Magic was Experiment 1. I always thought this guy was really cool. He is let's get the Gatecrash version with the reminder text. He is green, 1 green, and you get a 1/1 with Evolve. Whenever a creature enters battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this dude, you put a 1/1 counter on this creature. You play bigger creatures, Experiment 1 gets better with them. It's great that he's a 1-drop. You want him to be a 1-drop because you want him to see every bigger creature you play after him to get bigger, and then you could remove 2 counters from this dude to regenerate him. So he stays around. He sticks around. He's a very sticky guy. I mean, look at him. He's basically an octopus, human ooze creature. Simic. We know the Simic love to be messing around with their biology and stuff, making weird squid things. Oh, here's another art. This one's a little less creepy. This guy's just kind of vibing, like this guy. Yep, Experiment 1. I like this card. All right, keep the money moving. Phyrexian Arena. This is a classic 1 and 2 black enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I don't care what format it is. 1 life for 1 card, always taking that deal. We love extra cards. We love to draw. You basically get 2 draw steps, 2 cards a turn. That's double the amount of cards you would have been getting anyway for the cost of 1 life. You can literally do that 20 times in lower health formats and 40 times in Commander. No problem. That's always worth it. I love Phyrexian Arena. I think it's right there at the spot of just good card where it's not, backbreakingly broken and it's not, a silly bad card that you're just playing for no reason. It's been reprinted a gajillion times with like a million different arts. I think my favorite one is probably this one. I just like this one. I like the vibe of this Phyrexian Arena the most. And that flavor text is really good too. A drop of humanity for a sea of power. Ooh, ooh, that's a zinger right there. That's Phyrexian Arena. Now we get to talk about Kitesale Larsen. This is a pretty much brand new card. 2 and a blue creature, human pirate, flying, ward 1, a whole bunch of text. When it enters the battlefield, for each player, choose up to 1 other target artifact or creature that player controls. For as long as this dude is on the battlefield, those permanents are actually treasures with treasure effect. Sacrifice this artifact. You add 1 mana out any color and lose all other abilities. This guy basically holds your freaking artifacts or creatures hostage, makes them treasures. Everyone's. And not only that, if you want your stuff back, getting rid of this thief, this little dude, is actually harder because it's Ward 1, so you have to pay 1 extra to even target this guy with anything to get your stupid little things back. But you do get a treasure for it, so if somehow that 1 extra mana that you have available makes things great. I mean, he's not completely screwing you out of that, but pretty neat card. Pretty long-winded way to do what it does, but yeah, Kitesale Larsenist. Oof. Oof. Tarmogoyf, here he is. Here he is, 1 in a green. He's a Lurgoyf. He is star 1+ star for power and toughness, and his power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. So this is like one of the OG here it comes. Here's a fast creature that's gonna be big as heck because we delved or we, threw a bunch of shit in our graveyard. Here he is. He's 2 mana, which means you're getting him out on turn 2, and this guy could be like a 4/5, a 5/6, a 6/7. I mean, that's gotta be worth something, right? Doesn't have any protection, so he's probably just getting absolutely obliterated by any form of removal. But it's Tarmogoyf. We love Tarmogoyf. He's a just good old beater. What even is a Lurgoyf? Who knows? Oof, future sight. Yep. Yeah, that right there. That's the art. That's the art you want to have is the future sight art. That's how you know you're a real Tarmogoyf head right there. Wind Brisk Heights. Okay, I can talk about this card actually pretty well. So this is one of the Hideway Lands where you enter this battlefield, you look at the top 4 cards of your library, you exile one of them face down, and you put the rest on the bottom in a random order. It enters the battlefield tapped, and then you can tap it like a plains to add a white, or you can pay a white, and you can play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn. So Hideway Lands, usually you look at the top 4, you go, okay, this is my really big, super powerful spell that I want to cast for 1 mana, and you throw it under the Hideaway Land, and then later on in the game, when you attack with 3 or more creatures, you play that super big spell. But while I still have time to talk about this card, all of the Hideaway Lands actually reference another card from the original set. I think it was like Lorwyn or something. Yeah, Lorwyn. You see Windbrisk Heights. Actually reference I know this one because I have a bird tribal deck. Windbrisk Raptor. This guy. Windbrisk Kites, Windbrisk Raptor. It's a little bird. You can see in the art, it's literally big freaking bird land thing. That's pretty cool. Little fun fact. Windbrisk Kites, Windbrisk Raptor. There you go. And we'll do 3 more cards. 3 more cards. Oh heck yeah! We love Golemhorn Buccaneer. 1 and 2 red for a creature, Minotaur Pirate with haste. Whenever you discard a card, he deals 1 damage to each opponent. You pay 1 and a red, discard a card to draw a card, and you can only do that if he is attacking, which he will be. He's a 2/4 with haste. You want to attack with him. This guy is just discard gas. If you're already discarding your hands, if you're doing wheels, if you're just like doing your looting or your rummaging or your tormenting voice, things like that, you're just discarding your cards. You're throwing your cards away. You're playing Azareth. This guy just little gravy on top of that whole strategy. Just deal 1 to each opponent every time you discard a card. In the right deck, you can discard a lot of your cards. Who needs them? You don't need them. Just throw away your cards. Throw away your cards. Even if you do need your cards, I mean, you could throw them away to draw a card and put more cards in your hand that you can later discard to deal damage to everyone. Great card, great payout. 2/4 with haste, Minotaur guy. We love Golemhorn Buccaneer. Let's move on. Here we go. What the hell is this? What is this? Okay. Okay. We have no. Okay. Sorceress Queen. 1 and 2 black for a sorceress. 1/1. You could tap to make another creature a 0/2 until end of turn. Treat this exactly as if the numbers in the lower right of the target card were 0/2. All special characteristics and enchantments on this creature are unaffected. Okay, let's put that in human words right here in the fucking oracle text. Tap target creature other than Sorcerer's Queen just becomes a base power is 0/2 till end of turn. This card sucks. I mean, it does its thing, whatever. Doesn't even get rid of their abilities or anything. Like, it's Sorceress Queen. I've never seen this card, and I think there's a good reason for that. The art is it's pretty cool, pretty crazy, honestly. It's just a human wizard that just makes something smaller. Eh, yeah. Last card. Last card. Let's move on. Let's. Okay. Last card. We got a good card. We got a good card for our last card. Absolutely. Divine Visitation is 3 and 2 white for an enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. It's not hard to see why this is good, because if you're doing white token strategy, .exe, you're probably making a whole bunch of, 1/1 soldiers and 1/1 human guys and just trash. Well, Divine Visitation pulls up and says, hey, all of those soldiers and those humans, they're actually way cooler when you play them. Now they're angels with vigilance. Every one of your tokens become when it enters the battlefield becomes a Sarah Angel. We hope you're okay with that. I'm okay with that. That's really cool. I love 4/4 angels with vigilance. That's a pretty good deal for 5 mana. Pretty strong enchantment. Love, love that. The angels appreciated the offer, but politely declined to eat any birdseed. You got to be a different kind of crazy to offer like a Boros angel, like Aurelia or something, birdseed. You have to actually have a death wish. Like she will just like fucking clobber you. Anyways, that's all I got for this video about talking random Magic cards. Hope you enjoyed. I kind of love doing this format of video just because I like talking about cards. If you didn't know, and yeah, that'll be all. Bye.